Hi, this is 100 Films and Other Stuff. At 94 is Josef Rusnak's The 13th Floor. Be warned, there are spoilers ahead. Seriously, if you haven't seen this movie and don't want it spoiled for you, then maybe watch it first. But if you don't care about that stuff, watch on. Bad timing. It can happen to anybody. For the people involved with The 13th Floor, they were unlucky enough to release a film in the same year with similar themes to The Matrix and eXistenz.
eXistenz is paused!
All three films are very good movies in their own right, but I have always preferred the sleek images, narrative and philosophical approach of The 13th Floor compared to the other two. I am very much in the minority on this one. If you want to read some negative reviews about The 13th Floor, just go to Metacritic. At the time of release, critics really didn't like the movie, which made me wonder why. The 13th Floor is not Citizen Kane, but did it really deserve all the hate? Yes, it has its flaws, with at times some poor dialogue and a shallow love story that could have done with a bit more development. But I can excuse these shortcomings because after all, it is one giant computer game. So how good would the dialogue be? Especially if we consider the average computer game.
Do you know what you're doing?
I'm fully aware of what I'm doing. Can't you see? Man committed a sin, disturbing the life cycle of nature. The original sin that man is responsible to protect the life cycle.
Though sometimes it is pretty good.
What's all over your face, pal?
Your wife's pussy.
I believe certain critics hated this film for two reasons. The first one was that it failed to be like The Matrix, which had something to please everybody, from spectacular action sequences, never seen before film technology, star power, and some cool intellectualism, borrowing from Baudrillard and Althusser. It made people feel as though they were watching something exciting and intelligent, which made it more than just an action film from Hollywood. The 13th Floor was released only 2 months after The Matrix, and although both films look at similar themes such as simulated reality and notions of free will, they tell their stories in very different ways. For example, The Matrix starts with that glorious escape to the phone box action sequence. The Matrix is telling you, right from the outset,
Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye.
so hang on to your hat. The 13th Floor, on the other hand, starts with Armin Mueller-Stahl writing a letter, ambling his way to a bar, where he passes said letter, which will change everybody's lives, to the barman, and then walks to the taxi that will take him home to bed. Okay, he does get murdered about 3 minutes later, but it isn't really an intense action scene.
What are you doing?
Both films created very different atmospheres. The Matrix is a cyberpunk action film, while The 13th Floor is a slow-burn neo-noir crime thriller. But unfortunately, people and critics thought they were getting another Matrix. The second reason why critics didn't like The 13th Floor is that it was not directed by David Cronenberg, like eXistenz, but was produced by people connected to Godzilla. Yes, the one with Matthew Broderick. For those of you too young to have seen this movie, it is quite bad. The 13th Floor didn't have the independent credentials of Cronenberg, nor the action scenes of The Matrix, which left audiences a little confused about what they were watching. It is a shame because the film, although far from perfect, has a lot to offer.
Hey, what'd you do to the world?
Turned it off.
Well, put it back!
The 13th Floor is based loosely on the novel Simulacrum 3 by Daniel F. Galouye. It was first adapted by Rainer Werner Fassbinder for German television way back in 1973 in a television series called World on a Wire, which you can actually watch on YouTube and really is worth checking out if you have the time.
Stimmt das, dass Sie damit eine künstliche Welt gebaut haben?
Welt ist ein bisschen übertrieben.
Anyway, the 13th Floor is set sometime in the future and is about a group of men who have designed a computer-simulated world of Los Angeles circa 1937. Hanun Fuller is so far the only person to test drive this simulated world, which for all intents and purposes seems real.
So the whole thing's what, a giant computer game?
No, not at all. It doesn't need a user to interact with it to function. Its units are fully formed, self-learning cyber beings.
Units?
Yeah, electronic simulated characters. They populate the system. They think, they work, they eat.
They fuck?
Well, let's just say that they're modeled after us.
Fuller has discovered something incredible that changes everything, which he writes down in a letter in the simulated world. Before he can tell his colleague and friend Douglas Hall about this, he is murdered in the real world. Douglas can't remember where he was on the night of the murder, and doesn't know where the blood on his shirt he finds in his bathroom comes from. Also, who is Fuller's daughter Jane, and why did he know nothing about her until now? To learn more, he will plug himself in to discover the truth, which is beautifully handled by Rusnak, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't see coming, but I'm not that clever.
Preparing user for download into simulation. Program link ready for download.
This is Grierson 117, West Winston, Pasadena, Bridget Manila.
Transference beginning. Download complete.
$0.05.
The simulated world is elegantly constructed, yet noticeably the colorization still needs work because the program is still being tested and hasn't been finished yet. It's a nice touch by Rusnak, which shows how much he was thinking about the world he was creating.
Want one, mister? It's 5 cents.
The film in general looks exquisite, and director Josef Rusnak knows how to frame a pretty image, helped by some beautiful lighting and set design. All the performances are good, with Dennis Haysbert and Vincent D'Onofrio in particular shining. But for me, the real standout performer is Craig Bierko, who is brilliant in 3 different roles, as he goes from this
Anything wrong?
to this.
What happened?
What happened? The memory transference between you and your...
And to this.
You're the one who's fucking sick.
They are all different characters, but they are linked, and Bierko balances their differences very well. It is fantastic acting, in my opinion. However, what I like most about the 13th Floor is that it poses some pretty heavy philosophical questions like, what is free will? What is reality? Do simulated characters have feelings? This one is quite pertinent because we learn that the character we have been empathizing with and watching as a real person, albeit in a movie, is in fact a simulation. Yet despite the heavy themes, the movie never gets bogged down in them. It never really says directly to the audience, what is reality? It is a process that the audience and the characters go through. Remember, the film starts out with Douglas trying to find out who murdered his boss, and in the process he discovers that he is living in a simulated reality, like the one he made. He discovers this over halfway into the movie. The film is less focused on forcing heavy intellectualism down your throat, and more about letting you ponder it for yourself as you watch the film unfold. And it's all the better for it. The ending, which is bathed in golden light, bothered me when I first watched it, because it felt artificial. However, upon subsequent viewings, I have come to realise that it works for the exact same reason that I disliked it. What we get is a happy Hollywood ending with characters re-emerging from the dead, walking dogs on the beach, rejoined in some alternate happy land in the future, which, surprise surprise, has no crime. This ending is without question artificial and forced, designed to give the audience a happy ending. But this ending could also quite possibly be just another simulated reality, conceived for the character's benefit. Ignorance is bliss is one of 2 quotes at the start of the movie, and perhaps this ending is just another way to ponder our existence. Douglas escapes to a new world that might be another simulated reality, but in the end, if he's happy, does it matter?